This episode is general information only. Full disclaimers in the notes.
G'day, Josh. How you going, mate?
I'm good, mate. Episode 12. How you feeling?
Really good, really good. Ready to rip in. So today, Bloke, myths, beer, baldness, and bullshit. And the baldness I know you put in for me. Which
There's a lot of B's in that. I was hoping that you'd stumble a bit more over the heading, but anyway.
it's a good one, mate. So everyone, welcome back. Real talk for Aussie blokes, health, money, relationships, and mateship. Served with a side of banter at the steak dinner pod. So you want to rip straight into it, Josh?
Yeah.
I guess this
Did
is
you
all.
see what I did with the mission statement there? Did you see how I cut it down for you?
Yeah, I know. Well,
From
last
week.
Last week was an absolute tongue twister.
I thought you might.
I felt like I was reading from a pharmaceutical ad in the United States.
I agree. This is my gift to you on
Thank
a lovely
you, mate.
Friday.
I appreciate
Fantastic.
that.
All right, let's hook in, mate. What do we got?
Okay, well, this one's more about the myths, right? So everyone sort of talks about different myths that they've got in relation to blokes, wisdom, and we're going to go through a few of them. Red wine makes you live longer. Real men don't show emotion, and my personal favourite, size is what matters most. It's easy to say that. Today, we're grilling those myths until they are well done in true steak dinner podcast.
Yeah, love it.
Hopefully we'll have a laugh, have some fun, and we'll be a bit smarter about what's true, what's not.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
hopefully some of them are true, I'm hoping, but we'll find out.
The last one for you? Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
well,
Yeah, look, I agree. There's a lot of bro science out there. I think we'll just tackle these one by one. And if anyone has got any contrary views, we love to hear them in the comments. And if you've got anything else that sort of you do differently that works for you, then let's hear about it.
I'm expecting Huberman to maybe come in and say, listen, boys, it was a myth, but it's actually proven true.
Yeah.
So let's find out. Hopefully you're listening there and you give us a shout out.
I think, yeah, he's not going to respond, but that's good. Hopefully our listeners will think so anyway. That's all we're
We'll send us a clip of him.
Yeah, exactly. Fake it till you make it. All right, let's kick us off, mate. What do we got?
I forgot to say, it's the number one podcast that we do.
That we
Australia
host.
And around the world. So well done. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Very specific, but very accurate at the same time. So
Yes.
I like that.
It's good to be
Fantastic.
number one, Josh.
It's good to be number one, right? If you can't be good at it. So do you want to kick us off, mate, with
Well, the
our
first one we've got is red wine makes you live longer. You may not feel great the next day, but it makes you live longer, depending on how much you drink of it. And
is that something that you believe or believed as well?
yeah, we got to say, what you think, yes or no. I had thought, just based on, the French, living a long time or these sort of cultures, I did think that it's, one glass or a night of red might be good from an antioxidant perspective. So that's where I was probably at. I don't drink red wine very often, but when I do, unfortunately, it's a bottle. So
a lot of this was perpetuated, I think, back in the 90s. I think we used to hear a lot about the red wine and the resveratrol. That was what they were promoting back in the day as being this elixir that was available in red wine. But I guess it turns out that the levels that's in there is so minuscule, you'd need almost 1,000 bottles of wine for it to have any sort of significant impact on you.
So one in 1,000 isn't really going to do the trick.
No, it's not really going to do the trick. And it's interesting, those polyphenols that you get out of the red wine, you can get those in blueberries, cranberries, mulberries, peanuts, dark chocolate. So there's a lot of other ways to get those polyphenols.
You have to eat 1,000 blueberries as well, or is this
no,
handful?
You don't. I think it's more just, eating a handful and just eating different types of foods with polyphenols in them is probably one of the best things you can do. And I think a lot of the research out there, particularly the current research around alcohol, is that no alcohol is better than some alcohol. But that's just the reality people need to accept. And for me personally, I understand and I accept that. When I drink, I just go into that knowing that, it's something that's not as healthy as something else I could be drinking, but I like other aspects of it. I like the social aspect of it. I like the relaxation of it. So I think it's up to the individual to sort of decide for themselves whether or not it's a net positive for them, but certainly something you want to proceed with caution on.
Yeah. The interestingly, my nana had a mulberry tree, would always be making mulberry pies and all sorts of
Mm,
things.
mm.
She she passed, I don't know, about 95 or something, and going
Wow.
pretty well up to the end. Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes. That's
there's one. Maybe
interesting.
there's one sort of
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
see. Yeah, the dark chocolate might get me there. Let's see.
85% on the dark chocolate, by the way.
So JP, that just did a quick check. That why I thought of the French, it was because there was a nice 60 minutes French paradox
Yes,
story.
yes.
You like Big Pharma sponsoring different things. This was big wineries were the ones who ran with this study.
Yeah,
So
100%. Yes,
that
it's
makes,
like the cereal companies advocating for breakfast, right?
yeah.
Same sort of
And
thing.
for all the listeners out there, follow the money. That's the
Follow,
easy way on all of these things
yes, follow,
to look at different things from a perspective.
and do your own research.
Yeah,
Do
that's
your
it.
own research. Yeah. What's up
That's good,
next?
mate.
What
Uh,
else we got?
sorry. The one other stat there:
Yeah.
30% of Aussie men overdrink. So
Yes.
yeah, you're not alone if you do overdrink. And there
Yeah.
is 150,000 hospital admissions a year related to alcohol.
Wow, that's a frightening stat, isn't it?
That's a lot.
That's
So
that's that's a lot. So again, if you have a drink, just know the risk that you're taking. Proceed with
yep.
caution, but don't think that drinking alcohol is some sort of a health elixir. I think we just got to get that out of people's heads. Yep. Perfecto.
Okie doke. So next one, egg yolks bad for you, and in what quantity do you think?
Well, if you'd asked me this 10 years ago, I would have said absolutely, because I was taking out all the egg yolks and separating them and putting in shakes and thinking I was being healthy. And
Well,
then
you'll put the
yeah, I put
shake.
I put the whites in the shakes and I dumped the yolk as just, that back in the day, I remember when I was doing home science, the home science teacher used to say the egg yolk is a treat, but
Okay.
the health of the egg is in the egg white. So that's the kind of misinformation that was being farmed around. Well, not really misinformation. It was just what they thought. Well, it was wrong based on, I guess, the science that they had at that time. They didn't have any other science that pointed otherwise. So I found that very interesting. What about you?
I've never really separated egg yolks or whites. I can remember, wasn't there like we would get the milkshakes from the milk bar, and they
Mm.
would have yolks in them. They would have full eggs in them. I can't remember what they were called. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that, but I remember that my mum, when I was growing up, she would make milkshakes for us for breakfast, and she would dump eggs in them, a couple of eggs in
Yeah.
each milkshake, and you'd go off to school with you thinking that you're going to be absolutely jacked with all these eggs sitting in you. But that was interesting. So I guess a lot of the research from the Heart Foundation, particularly the latest research that was from last year, that even though egg yolks have got dietary cholesterol in them, they don't actually affect your blood cholesterol. So that's really important. So
Okay.
very, very vitamin rich and eaten in, I guess, moderation. But they're a good source of protein and good source of vitamins. So
Excellent. So the
yeah,
yolks must
the yolks. Oh wow. Okay.
like it.
We're
Yeah.
doing we're doing dad jokes as well.
Well, I put a few in there. See if you can pick them all. So that you were just talking about protein. So protein shakes. It surprised me just in chats
Mm,
recently with mates of mine. A lot of them are taking creatine. Just FYI, 50 to
yes.
10. It's not
Yes.
just you who's a super
Yeah.
freak on these things. But mate, that surprised me. And not only that, their kids who are 16 to 25, probably all the boys, they're
They
all
all take
taking
it.
creatine
Yeah,
as
they
well.
all take
Yeah.
it. They all take it. So it's probably the most studied supplement out there, Kieran.
Yeah.
Creatine
Creatine.
is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And the minimum dose that was advocated for a lot of years was sort of take 5 grams of creatine per day, and that helps, so to support muscle growth and stuff like that. But a lot of the latest research around creatine really supports taking higher doses to support cognition function and prevent against dementia and those types of ailments as well. So once you get past 5 grams, it sort of crosses the blood brain barrier, and you get a lot of those cognitive improvements when you take above 5 grams. So anywhere from 10, and I've seen Rhonda Patrick's podcasts where they've advocated, up to 15, 20 grams, depending upon where you're at, what you got on. If you're for example, if you're sleep deprived on a particular day, or you're jet lagged and you got to be cognitively ready the next day, take a
Yep.
higher dose, maybe 15, 20 grams, a few hours before you've got something, a big
Side
sort of
effects?
mental task. Not that I'm
No,
aware of,
not
but
that they've
again,
come
I'm
out
not
with
a
yet.
scientist, but I haven't seen any major side effects with
Well,
taking creatine.
this mate at the pub was saying that, so call it 50 years old, was saying that he reckons that after a week of doing it, he does think clearer.
Mm.
And wow, so I'm going to give it a shot, see how it goes. That wasn't the myth. That wasn't the one that wasn't on the docket. So the one that was on the docket was protein shakes can replace real meals.
Mm.
So, for example, I guess you want to skip breakfast, you have a protein shake, whey protein or whatever.
Yes.
Can it replace protein shakes? Can replace real meals?
Problem,
And yeah,
I
because
think,
you see it all the time. That
yeah. I think, the man shake. I'll tell you a story about the man shake.
okay,
You,
don't get us
I'm not going to get us
struck us
cancelled.
off the
No, no.
airways.
No, all I'm saying is I don't think those whole shakes are a long-term solution, right?
Yeah, okay.
I knew a guy that was on the man shake, and I saw him a couple of months after he'd been on these shakes, hadn't seen him for a while. He dropped a lot of weight.
Good.
Yes, good, but interestingly, when I looked at him, the weight that he had lost, he didn't look super healthy weight loss. He looked like a skinny guy, but he didn't look that healthy, if that makes sense. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? He looked like he'd dropped a lot of weight. And then I saw him 4 months later, and he looked like he'd swallowed a sheep.
yeah, okay.
So I think,
Shout out if you're listening. At least we're not getting taken off the air, but you might have a drive-by at your place.
you're a funny man.
So what else we got here?
Hey,
Reliance causes nutrient gaps and energy crashes. So was this
So,
bloke sheep eater? Was he
no. So all
was
I
he
would,
having multiple, like, for every single meal rather than
yeah,
real
well,
meal?
I think he was having one real meal a day, 2 shakes. Some people just go full liquid diet. But what I'm trying to say is I think they're a good supplement,
Mm-hmm.
but not really, it doesn't replace nutrition. So if you've got a balanced diet and you're supplementing with a shake to get your protein up, for example, that makes sense. But you got to understand that if you use that entirely to replace a meal, you may be missing out on a lot of micronutrients and things like that that you're not getting through food because you're not eating enough food.
Yep.
So if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
that's all I would say to that. So yes, protein shakes are a good supplement, but they're not really what I would say is a meal replacement.
Yep.
It's
Okay.
I know it's kind of splitting hairs a little bit, but it's an important differentiation,
Okay.
I
So
would
use
say.
it for convenience.
What's
Okay.
your
That's a good one.
take on frozen veggies? There's a lot of, I guess, conversations out there that frozen veggies are a lot worse than fresh vegetables.
Yeah, like fresh is best, sort of the
Mm.
fresh food people, etc. My guess on that is, I know, I would say that if it's snap frozen, then it would be as good, if not better. I would have thought, because in an industrialized age, we're getting,
Yes.
I don't have any food being grown on my place. So therefore I
Yes.
would say the snap frozen stuff would be more nutritious than less. That would be my guess.
Yes, and you're right. Snap frozen is better in a lot of instances, and it goes back to what you were saying. If you just look at the process of how it gets from the farm to Woolies, a lot of that stuff is pretty poor quality. A lot of the nutrition's out of it by the time it sort of hits the shelves. So definitely something to be mindful of. Nothing wrong with frozen veggies. So feel free. Very convenient too. I think frozen veggies for a lot of people.
The only ones I really have are frozen peas and frozen blueberries. I don't think I
Yeah.
have too many other frozen veggies, to be honest.
Yeah. Yep. It doesn't suit everybody, but it's certainly, I'll go to it if I'm feeling lazy and I just want to have a bit of protein, and I just chuck on some microwave veggies or something like that, so I can get some veggies in there. Otherwise, I'm probably not going to eat them.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah. What
Oh,
about?
what are you going to throw an avocado in the freezer or something, are you? What do you?
There are no frozen avocados in my house, Kieran.
Okay. They're all freshies.
Well,
$5 a throw.
$5 a throw. On the northern beaches, they'd be $9 each. But avocados are interesting. There's only you got to eat them, like there's a 2-day grace period where you can eat avocados before they're either rock hard or they start to go brown. There's a sweet spot, isn't there? With
Well, it's the reason
avocados.
why Albo brought in the 5% deposit for first home owners, so that you could also have your avocado toast and get a house.
Avocado, the old avocado
Should call it the
toast.
avocado law.
Yeah, avocado. That was really pulling a lot of millennials back, wasn't it? The avocados.
So they said that could be the myth. That's the myth, millennials. We
like
believe
they say,
in you guys.
if
I think
you
you're going full. You're going to be good.
yeah, like
Millennials are going to turn
when they
the
say
table.
if you want to save up for a home deposit, just ditch your takeaway coffees. Like that's gonna move the needle. Yeah, but anyway,
You just got to buy yourself $1,000 coffee machine first.
Correct. Speaking of coffee,
Yes, mate.
does coffee dehydrate you?
No, I'd have to, wouldn't it? That would be my no.
That's not what they're saying. Well, they're saying that 2 to 3. It depends. If you have small amounts, 2 to 3 cups, it actually aids hydration.
What?
That's from the Journal of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietitians. So, 2023.
Is this a hallucination from ChatGPT or something? Rock?
You source your own notes. I'm just bringing information to the table, right?
I meant to come fully armed and fully prepared. So, wait a second.
I'm not here to debate you. We're having a conversation.
No. So let's say I just have double shot espressos. That's what I have.
Mm.
And probably have 2 a day, I guess. So you're saying that hydrates? Or you mean like a long black or something might hydrate?
Exactly.
Because there's a thing of water plus.
Exactly.
Okay.
But the rule of thumb is if you have coffee, just make sure you're getting I think where people make a mistake with coffee is that coffee drinkers use that to quench their thirst, essentially. And when they're drinking 5 coffees a day, they're not drinking water because they're drinking liquids.
Mm-hmm.
The importance is to make sure that you're getting a lot of water as well as the coffee. I think where it becomes a problem is people, and that's why, a couple of coffees okay. Once you start having too much, there's too much caffeine, and then, you're not getting enough water, I would suggest. And we go back to those milky coffees, the milky coffees and the calories in the milky coffees. Not great, is it? You love them. I love the milky coffee.
Depends if it's fresh milk. Feels good. All right. So you've cleaned us out of the food. Now we got to. So that's all the food myths you've got.
And you've cleaned me out of my friendships with some of your comments. And that one.
Enjoy the bulletproof vest on the way out.
I'm going to be getting calls over the weekend, I feel. But anyway, keep rolling on, mate.
All right. So that's the food myths. Now we're going to hit your gym myths. And you're going to hit me with cold plunges and saunas, both of those. But first off, cold plunge. Let's hit the cold plunge. So the myth, cold plunges boost the testosterone. Now, you've already told me about the shrinking of sacs of sleeping. That's still nightmare sort of stuff.
That's less than 5 hours.
Yeah.
Under 5 hours.
Under 5 hours a night.
Yeah. You've been
Shrinks the
you've
old
been
ball bag.
you've been going to bed earlier, I can tell.
Yeah,
You
I
look
have,
fresher.
but yeah, it's getting warm here in Sydney. I'm waking up a bit.
Yeah.
But let's do the cold plunges. So the myth was that if you do the cold plunge,
Mm,
you're going to boost the testosterone. And that's from, I know the modern biohackers are all saying that.
mm.
1800s, they've been doing cold plunges in the Nordic states forever.
Yeah.
So tell me, what do you think? Or you know the answer already. So
I
maybe
know the
just hit us with
answer.
the answer.
I would say I would have said no to that. I wouldn't have thought that it would, to be fair. It doesn't make sense to me. There is some sort of evidence to show a short-term spike of T up to 20%, but it's not long lasting. So it's not doing anything long term or anything meaningful for your testosterone levels.
I would have thought that it does have an endorphin release though. Like it's got to, because you
But
go into that thing
of
where you
course,
almost
but
feel like you're going to die.
yes, but it's all about going in there for the right reasons,
Mm.
right? And not going in there with false expectations. Have a cold plunge because it wakes you up, it releases some endorphins, but don't take a cold plunge because you think you're going to look like Wolverine when you get out after a week, right? So that's the difference,
Yeah.
right? It's saying these things are good, but just make sure you know the right reasons and the real reasons in terms of the value you're going to get out of some of these things. I love the ice bath. I think they're amazing. But it's amazing for me because when I get out of there, my mental acuity goes up. I'm super alert. I've got the release of endorphins.
Are you still doing it? You're still doing it every week?
Yeah, I've been a bit lax for the last month.
Okay.
Water's turned a bit green. I'm not going to lie. It's time to clear it out. It's best in winter for me because I can get it really cold in winter,
Yeah. Okay.
even without chucking ice in there. So
Okay.
you can still do it, but it's a bit more prep over summer to get it to the right temperature.
Okay. So we're not doing it for testosterone, but you are doing it for other reasons. So there you go.
Yes,
For
but
mental acuity, let's say.
if you want to boost your
Yeah.
testosterone, do things like prioritizing your sleep, doing resistance training. Those things are going to move the needle a lot more than a cold plunge. That's for sure.
Okay.
Long term.
So next one, no pain, no gain. So this was the old Arnie Schwarzenegger type scenario. It was a bodybuilding slogan. Like there are times when I would, if you go big, especially if you haven't done it for a while.
Yeah,
And then next thing you know, I'm at the chiro trying to correct my neck.
because never take the Rocky soundtrack with you to the gym. It's going to end up a complete disaster for most people.
Yeah.
How many injuries have there been from Eye of the Tiger? You can imagine, especially for us middle-aged guys.
Yeah.
But
There's
definitely,
probably a few people listening to us right now. Take it easy, guys, in the gym. Take it easy.
Take it easy.
But realistically, does what about overtraining? What's
Well, overtraining increases your risk of injury by 2.5 times. So I think there's a difference between, overtraining, pushing hard. Like it's a bit of a complicated conversation because yes, of course you need to push hard to get progressive overload and to get gains and develop yourself in terms of strength, hypertrophy, all those things. So
you want to go to failure?
You want to go to failure. Where I
Yeah.
think people get it wrong is they train too often. That's one. So overtraining by training too often, training too long, and also going beyond their limits.
I would say age. Like once you get over 40.
It is. But the problem is, Kieran, is that you get guys, and I see them at the gym, the technique is horrible. And they're pushing big weights around with horrible form. So this is where you just need to do it in a very sort of structured way. Make sure that form always comes first, and then you'll get those. And then if you've got good form, you're actually targeting the muscles that you want to engage,
Yeah.
as opposed to starting to put your back into something and pushing and swaying, and it's just a recipe for injury. So just focus on the techniques and just make sure you don't train too much, especially for guys like us, the over 40s guys.
Mm.
You just got to be a little bit more ginger on yourself and make sure you're doing a lot of the other support
I
stuff.
reckon about 10 years ago, I saw Tom Brady came out with a book, and his whole thing is
Yeah,
resistance bands.
yeah,
Look, that guy did everything in his sport against guys who are 300 pound, 400 pound. I don't know how
yeah,
big they are.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. That's true.
yeah, at
And
our age,
married a supermodel at the end, just to sort of put the nail in the coffin, didn't he?
yeah, and then moved a bit further. But I would just, because I am guilty of it when I haven't when I do a new exercise or something and try a bit too hard, and then if you get injured, you don't go back for 2 weeks.
No, or
So
even
you're better off just stepping in.
even if you don't get injured, when you feel absolutely obliterated head to toe, there's no encouragement to want to go back there. So this is where about training smarter, not harder in a lot of feet, and
All
sort of
right,
just
so we're
ratcheting
not,
up
we're not
slowly.
going to go for the no pain, no gain, and pain's not progress. It's your physio's mortgage. That's what we're that's what we're doing there.
That's true. That's true.
All right. So next up is, okay, crunches give you a six pack, and this is based on the 1950s sort of ab roller type things.
I think Arnie again is partly responsible for this because he perpetuated that myth of spot fat reduction.
Okay.
Like if he wanted to get off fat around his midsection, he would do a lot of crunches and stuff like that.
Mm.
I think a lot of the gyms and things in a lot of 80s, going back to that bro science, was perpetuating a lot of that stuff. But you can't spot reduce fat. You can't tell your body where fat's to be eliminated from. It'll definitely choose on your behalf. And
Yeah,
generally,
you
it's
got to
all
go
over the
whole
place.
body.
You got to
Whole
go
body.
whole.
That one's pretty simple, I would think.
Yeah, yep.
What other ones have we got? I wanted to do the sauna, sweating out toxins. That if you go in the sauna and sweat, like as a detox. So now we're talking 1970s. Is it a myth? Is it real?
Well, science says that it's the liver and kidneys that handle detox, not sweating.
That makes sense.
Right. So there is this false sense of cleansing because you're perspiring so much. So again, saunas are great. I love saunas, and they do have other benefits, like what's the term for it? Releasing heat shock proteins, things like that. So they do have benefits. It's just, again, going in there for the right reasons and knowing why you're going into these things. I'm going in the sauna because it's relaxing. I get to sweat it out and not using it like, I've just been on the cans and I can detox my liver I'm already dehydrated. Now I'm going to go into the sauna for half an hour at 80 degrees and just
I feel worse.
torch myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got one of those. I've got a couple from Amazon. The felt hats.
What's that for?
For sauna felt hats. Have you seen these things?
No, you'd look ridiculous in that.
I do.
What is that?
I do.
What is that? I don't even know what that is.
I need you to get, I'm pretty sure it might have been Huberman, one of them.
Felt hat?
That just check it because it's
I'll
the
write that
heat
down.
of your brain. Like in a sauna, it's, your body, you're expelling, you're getting hot. But these felt hats keep your brain from getting overcooked.
Okay.
So they're not like tight, they're sort of like that.
Yes.
And
it just protects the heat from.
Protects the heat. Definitely does. And I'm still, at 25 minutes, I'm absolutely feeling it. Whereas before, I don't know, maybe my whole body was in a state where I could do the 30.
So you're saying it's harder with the felt hat?
For me, it is. Yeah. That's what I've noticed. But, and definitely when you come out, your head's not like super hot. When you get out and your brain's cooking. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Might have to research that.
I'll have to look into that.
I bought it first and then thought we'll see.
Of course.
Yeah.
But that's what we do. We just buy whatever we can. Right. Yeah. That's all we got.
Oh, it would have only been $8 or something.
What about running and the impact it has on your knees?
I would say yes, that it is true that deterioration of your knees doing marathons and things. But I hope you're not about to say false.
Yes. So I think you're somewhat right in that. Recreational running, and this is from the British Medical Journal, recreational running strengthens joints. So for most people who go out there for a 5-10K jog, it's actually strengthening their joints.
Okay.
I think where this was perpetuated was runners that run 80, 100 kilometers a week, every week, year after year, do 42K marathons regularly, all those things. I think there's a small segment of runners that would ring true for.
Yeah.
But I think for most people that are going out there doing 5, 7, 10 clicks, it's a non-issue.
Okay. I have had issues with my legs, with my knees, and I've had 2 ACLs. I played a lot of touch football back in the
Yeah.
day. I did a lot of skiing
Yes.
as a kid and all the way through, snow skiing. And so I'd always stayed away from running other than touch football, which I assumed running forward and running backwards would be good. And then that knees over toes guy, he's very much a proponent of running backwards, like using that backward pulling motion, not running. I don't know if he runs, but it's sort of like a pulling motion. I wasn't obviously doing that doing touch footy.
It's interesting. I see a lot of guys now in the gyms on the treadmills doing backwards walking.
Okay.
Yeah, so obviously that's started.
The knees over toes guy.
Yeah. So I've seen quite a few start to do that now. So it's starting to become a bit of a thing.
They get a better look.
Yeah.
Get a better look on the gym.
Better look. And they've all got sunglasses on for some reason. So I'm still trying to work that one out. But anyway, no, they're not. They're not. But you know what hurts your knees more than running?
What?
Sitting.
Yeah.
Sitting down all day.
Yeah.
We're not designed to do that. We're not meant to sit in chairs all day. So,
stand up at work, guys. Stand up if you've got one of those standing desks.
All right. So we've just eviscerated nutrition. We've eviscerated the physical side. It's time to get our emotions going.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay,
We're going into the emotional segment, KM. Right. So make sure you got your box of tissues at the ready for this one.
Okay.
All right. Real men don't show emotion, true or false?
As a myth, well, I'm sure some blokes do show emotion, but realistically, I don't know. I think the stoic way of doing it is you don't show emotion, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm sort of a 50-50 camp there. Not everyone should be themselves for that, I think.
Yes. They say the reality is, and this is from the American Psychological Association, expressing
big psycho
association.
Yeah. Follow the money. Yeah. What do they have to say, Josh?
Well, the liberals say that expressing emotions lowers stress and improves bonds. So it's an interesting one. And obviously bottling up leads to burnout. And I think you see a lot of guys as well, and you can see that bottle up because they go from zero to explosion. So you kind of can see there's a portion of blokes that really aren't doing any. And it's a fine line because as a man and as a father, I don't want to be in tears every day around my kids. I want to show strength, you want
them to have a good time.
As a father and a husband, I also want to show strength, you know what I mean? And be that strength for the family. I think it goes back to, there's a couple of things there. Having a mate to talk to, I think, is really important, or having someone to talk to, and also having outlets for your emotions, like healthy outlets for your emotions as well. That's why I think we're strong advocates of the exercise and things like that, because I think every time you exercise, you're kind of taking off the edge. You keep taking off the edges, you know what I mean? And hopefully that's sort of putting you in a state where you're not going to explode like some people.
Are you looking at me? Okay. No, that's very good. No, that's fair. Yeah, it's the mental constipation.
Like Kieran is going to absolutely change the topic now. He's going,
Correct. I think we've talked enough about that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we've got a big docket, JP. We've got a big
Yeah,
docket.
yeah, yeah. 100%.
So,
100%. All right.
which one would you want to do? What about once a cheater, always a cheater? That's the myth. That's a saying. I would say no, honestly, but
I would say no too, because I think that for people that cheat, it's not like saying that someone is a cheater. It's just basically saying that it's just a default characteristic of a person. And I think there's a lot of things that can go into why people cheat that's very individual to that relationship that they're in, if that makes sense.
yeah,
That's
or they
how
haven't
I would
fixed,
say.
or they haven't fixed themselves yet,
Or they haven't
something.
fixed themselves. What I would say though is that I think when you go down that road of cheating, I think if you've been down that road before, I would imagine it would be less hard to go down that road again.
Depending on the outcome.
Well, yeah, depending. Are you saying having your whole life turned upside down and ripped apart?
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
that's true.
that assumes, being
Yeah.
found out or something. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just like saying, it's like anything else. It could be a mistake that people make. It could be,
Sure.
for example,
A time.
someone was completely drunk out of their mind, right? Lowered their inhibitions and they made a really poor decision in that moment, but it doesn't necessarily represent their whole character. It was a misstep. So that would be my perspective on that one.
Yeah. Well, we hope we're about, I think we both believe that you can be better, if you work on yourself. So, yeah, I'm going to say not true. If people make mistakes, yeah, we got to work on it and get better. That's basically, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you said that in one of the first or second episodes, that if you go from relationship to relationship to relationship, but not ever work on those toxic traits that you have, then you're going to get the same result in each relationship you go to.
I've seen those. I mean, you probably know a couple yourself. I know certainly a couple that will just bounce. Like they will not leave one relationship until they got another in the chamber ready to go. Like, and to me, that's almost like I don't know if that's a love addiction or whatever it is, but just addicted to relationships and can't sort of bear the thought of being alone in their thoughts and in their own space, which is interesting. What about this? This one will resonate with you. Women want bad boys, not nice guys. And Kieran's going, which one am I? Which one am I supposed to be in this conversation?
Why am I resonating? Okay, so from the rom-coms and dating gurus, okay, yeah, I guess if you watch, what's that one? The Notebook. Like every one of those movies, the bloke who's trying to get ahead with the family, doing the right thing, about to get engaged to a girl. And then she says, I've just got to go back home to my hometown for the week to find some bloke who's going
done
nowhere
nothing
in
for me.
life. And yeah, well, that's definitely the movies.
Mm.
So do women want, I can't say what women want, to be honest. But yeah, look, they want confidence, I would think.
Yeah, I think
probably not, which can be nice guys can still be confident.
Yeah, I think it's, kindness and confidence, but look, I'll just give my own perspective on this.
And which one are you?
Well, depends on what stage of life I'm at.
Yeah, what era?
I feel like I've been
like the JP era.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I think I've been both those guys. You know what I mean? At different stages, depending upon where I'm at or how potentially jaded I may have been, depending upon what was going on in my life. But what I would say is that real women want real men, right? That's always been my tagline. Real women want real men, and vice versa. So I think women.
Yeah, so different stage of life.
Well, but I also think most women, healthy women, want a fairly strong man, a man that will take the lead on certain things. And I think women find that to be attractive. I don't think any woman wants a beta male. And I don't really see a lot of women that like those effeminate traits, or a guy that's highly emotionally unregulated, for example. I don't think any of those traits are attractive to
Hmm.
but that's just my perspective. So I think it goes back to what you said. I think the confidence is definitely a big thing, as long as it's not arrogance and there's some kindness behind it as well.
Yep. Yep. That sounds good. So that goes to, should the bloke always pay for a date? And
Mm.
that's based on chivalries, right?
What's KM's perspective on that one?
I don't know. I haven't done the dating well, but I would have said yes. Depending, but I think you did we did the episode with the dating, right?
Mm.
And perhaps you were saying do dates that don't cost you anything or much as
Mm.
your first dates,
Mm.
just to get and have an exit plan, if you
Mm.
like. But I
Yes.
guess if that went further, then yeah, I would think that the bloke offers. But it's a new world. It's a brave new world.
It's a brave new world. I tend to agree with you. I think keeping it fairly light on the first date is a good way to sort of get to know someone in terms of whether you want to pursue that
Mm.
second date, which I would say would probably be more like a first real date where you're like, I've met this person, I like them, I'm happy to invest in that date now, if that makes
Mm.
sense.
Yep.
And then put your wallet down for that. I think once you've gone past that, if that person is, somebody that's working like you and is receiving an income and supporting themselves, then I think it's either going Dutch or going one for one. And I just don't see how, a woman that's making $150,000, $200,000 going on a date with a guy that makes $100,000 and expecting him to cough up and put his wallet down every single time
Well,
on a
what
date.
about actually that might be the difference. Like if a woman says, "Yeah, I want to go to Tetsuya's,"
Mm,
and and we're ordering entrees, mains, desserts, blah blah blah, bottles of
mm.
champagne, and it's all her idea, then yeah, okay, fair enough. Maybe that's a 50-50, but not if it's the bloke who's deciding, hey, we're going to this date, we're going to this place, we're doing these things, then yeah, I would say that they should.
Yes, I agree. I think that's important. Who's orchestrating the date? Who's
Yeah.
organizing it? If you're asking me to go out to dinner, then I'm assuming that you're wanting to treat me, or you have an understanding, even if that I'm organizing it and we go halvesies and then you organize the next one. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Depends on what the understanding of
Yeah,
after
I
the
think
date is.
so. I
Yeah.
think so because
Okay.
everyone's in different situations. I think you
Well,
got to.
the last one
Mm,
you've got the most experience on. Divorce means you failed. And
mm,
that's cultural and religious stigma as the
mm,
origin of that.
mm.
I'll start first. Obviously, I don't agree with that. It's not a you failed, and it's probably not a she failed. It's just the time that neither of you gets back, that you've got to go on to do new things and be reborn almost. So it's not a failure. And
Yeah.
obviously so many people do it. What are we going to say? 50% of people are failures? Like, that's
Yes,
just not right.
I agree. And it's like, and there is a lot of that cultural religious stigma where I think this is born out of in
Mm.
terms of, but it's like anything in life, sometimes you make poor decisions. I mean, have you ever been in a job? And I'm not trying to make a correlation between career and relationships like they're of equal value, but I'm saying it's just another life event where you make a decision thinking this is the right thing for me.
Mm.
And then I realize a couple of years down the track, actually, this isn't, now that I'm doing this, it's not actually what I thought it was going to be. Right.
Yeah, that's a
And
perfect example, Josh.
yeah. And the other thing is, particularly if you marry younger, I was in my 20s when I got married, and like I see my kids, they're starting to enter into the 20s and stuff like that. And for me, they're kids. And then, I realized that I was a kid too. And you're making these adult decisions and you really don't know yourself that well. You think you do. You think you're mature. You think you got
Yeah.
life skills, and
No, you're a kid.
you're a kid, and you
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
realize you're a kid, and that's the naivety of it all. Is that you
Mm.
don't even have that. When you get older, you kind of become more aware of what you don't know. And I think that's the wisdom to know what you do know and what you don't know.
And also what your partner is and who they're ever going to be.
100%. And
So,
when you think about it, Kieran, it's like when you meet, say, in your early 20s, and the likelihood that when you think of who you are, or who you were, I should say, in your 20s to now. Think of the difference of who you are now to your 20s, right?
yeah.
Now, expect that you've got somebody that's a female that's going through that same journey of change. You have to go on that journey together and come out at the end of it and still feel like you're my soulmate and we are the right team together, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So when you think about it, to have a really successful...
Statistically, it should be
Statistically, it's actually
Honestly.
against you.
Yeah.
Statistically, it's against you. And the reason I say that as well is we say the divorce rate's 45%. Do you know any married people that are unhappy?
Yeah.
I do. Right? So when you put those numbers in, there's more unhappy people or divorced people than happily married people. So
Totally. Yeah.
totally, you know what I mean? So if we're being genuine here. So all I would say is you just need to...
Or at different times in their marriages.
Different
as well.
times, different times. But I would say absolutely, yeah. As long as... I think the failure part comes in if you don't do everything you can to preserve that marriage in the first place. If you opt out quickly or easily, or the first sign of struggle, I think that's terrible. The other thing is if you do get divorced and you don't do the work on yourself, that's terrible too. That is a failure, because it's an opportunity for you to grow and reassess and look at yourself in the mirror. If you're not doing that, then I think, yeah, you did fail in that because you're not taking the lessons.
JP, that's good. So it's not failure, it's version 2.0 or 3.0 or what?
2.0, if you do the work.
I like what you said there about jobs, your career. You go to job, you learn things, you give it your best. And sometimes when you haven't given your best in a career.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you've hopefully done something in a mutual way and at the end of it, hopefully you've both progressed, or your career has progressed, and so is the company that you work for. That's going to let me stew on that. I'd say there will be a few people who also stew on that as well. Okay, so all right, we've done the relationship love myths, we've done the fitness myths, and we've done the food myths. Just a quick one on the grooming myths, and then we'll get into your bedroom bloke myths. So grooming, personal care myths, my one. This is why you put this one in for me. Thanks. Hair loss comes only from your mum's side, and that's from a 1970s genetics study.
Yes.
Right. Give me who I can blame. Straight up.
You can blame your mum and your dad.
Oh, good.
Because it comes from both parents. And this is from a Cleveland Clinic study, which was done 50 years later.
Yep.
Science has come a long way since the 70s, and it's certainly not just from your mother's side, it's from both parents' sides. So you need to look at both family lines. What can you do? Well, I've told you, Kieran.
Off to Turkey, you said.
No, I didn't say off to Turkey. Well, I wouldn't argue against Turkey.
Okay.
Finasteride.
That's the ointment that you rub that on your head.
You got to get to a GP.
Yeah.
The finasteride is a tablet. Minoxidil is like either a foam or a liquid solution. You rub it into your scalp. You rub it into the impacted areas, and before you know it, you're going to look like a romance cover novel. No, that's not true either. But it'll definitely... That part is a complete myth, but there's a lot of evidence to support that. So if you don't want to get the plugs in Turkey and you want to just improve some areas that are causing you concern, then that's something
I'll take the Matthew McConaughey or Elon Musk plugs. They seem to look pretty good.
Yeah, McConaughey, he won't admit it though.
Really?
He's the one that is trying to tell people it's just a bit of finasteride and minoxidil, and
Is that
it's
because he wants a political career, JP? Is that
I don't know, but McConaughey is 100% a hair transplant. Elon Musk is
yeah? He's
2000%
yeah,
a
yeah.
hair transplant. Anyway, but one is to prevent further hair loss, and minoxidil is to help you to grow new hair.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
So
So
that's why you got to use them in partnership.
all right. So there's the baldness myth
Mm,
that I can thank both people, both
mm,
parents. And all
please,
right,
yeah.
mate, we're rounding it out now with the
Mm.
eggplant emoji, bedroom bloke myths. Right. First one, men think about sex every 7 seconds. It's a 1990s tabloid claim. I would say no. I don't think about anything every 7 seconds. So I'm going to guess that that's a no, but I'm going to probably be shocked by the real number. What have we got
Well,
here?
I would have said today I'll say no. But if you got me when I was 16, I would have said yes. I would have said yes to that. I would have said 100%. That's spot on.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's saying more
that's
about
fair.
me than the myth.
That's fair.
But the reality is, and that was again, we're going back to the 80s. That was an 80s tabloid claim. You know, you
Yeah.
could say anything in the 80s, anything at all,
They put it
anything.
on telly.
They did put on telly. Everything was so unverified and unregulated, and they
Yeah.
knew you couldn't look it up.
Yeah.
What are you going to go to the library
There
and
was
get
no
out?
internet. There was no Google to
No
double it.
Google. All you could do is go to Encyclopedia Britannica at the library, or if you had
Yeah.
one in your lounge room, a set on display.
Yeah. Very good.
But
So, all
not.
right, we're saying that's
It's
never.
every. They're saying 19 times a day.
19.
19 times a day, not 8,000 though.
Got it.
Not
Yeah.
8,000. So we do tend to drift towards the
Yeah.
sexual. I think that's just our lizard
Close enough
brains.
to twice an hour that you're awake. Something like that.
Well, I don't know. A few of those could be while you're sleeping too. Who knows?
True. Okay.
Yeah. But apparently it's normal, right?
Right.
But every seconds, you wouldn't be able to hold down a job, would you?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Depends if that was your job.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, that's true.
Right.
Do you want to round us out? Round us out with a couple of.
Right. Well, we were going to do size is what matters most, but we don't even need to do that. I'm sure that's not true. Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just driving insecurity and selling pills of some description.
Yeah, 100%. I just kept looking for evidence that supported that it didn't matter. That's all I did.
Just told ChatGPT
Yeah,
to go back
but
and back
you
and
know,
back. Recursive.
they say it's not the size of the steak; it's how you serve it. KM. That's word on the street.
Well done, steak dinner pod.
Yeah,
Well done. Okay.
it's all in the hips. Hips. Yeah.
Okay. It's all on the angle. Men, the last one. Men hit their prime at 18. Now, that's got to be no. I would have thought strength is probably all the way up to 25, 30, because you see the sprinters, you see the NFL players.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
And it's probably an 18-year-old kid who came up with that.
Yeah, we're going back to the 1960s. That's the male ego trope. But yeah, certainly that's not true. Strength peaks at around, to your point, 25 to 35. And then the emotional maturity, because there's different levels of prime. There's physical prime and there's emotional, mental prime as well.
And sexual prime. Or is that what this is all about?
Well, I think prime, it's just a general term, right? That's what I mean. Prime it's not just, well, maybe in the bedroom, sure. But I think prime there's different levels of prime, isn't there?
We'd have to ask a couple of cougars. They can report in here what they think.
You'd have heaps of those on the northern beaches, wouldn't you? They'd be everywhere.
There'd be a lot.
It'd be an epidemic over there, wouldn't it? Of cougars running around?
Well, they're probably everywhere, mate.
I know, but northern beaches particularly.
Upper northern beaches.
Right, okay. But yeah, and then emotional maturity for men is generally around 40 plus. Interesting. I would agree with that.
Yeah,
I'd agree with that.
That's probably true.
I'd agree with that. I felt like I really started to really understand life in my 40s.
Yeah, but
30s.
We're not in our 60s yet. So what happens? Maybe we become more emotionally
Yeah, maybe.
aware. Mate, you've done the myths. You've
We've cra-
expelled the demons,
yes,
slayed the demons.
yes.
So, or grilled. We've grilled the myths.
No
So,
no real takeaways out of this one,
no,
other than if any of these topics affect you, dig a bit deeper, do your own research, and sort of look past the myths. Always educate yourself. We keep promoting that. Educate yourself.
yeah,
If you want to invest into any of these activities or these, you know, these different types of fitness protocols or biohacking and all that kind of stuff, just go back to where the science takes you, right? So,
I want to go have a look at that Wolverine
the
thing.
Wolverine, which one?
Yeah.
The creatine?
No. What is it called? BPS, something like that. It's the peptide.
Oh, the peptides.
I want to have a look at
Yeah.
that thing.
Yeah. My son spoke to me about that. It's interesting. I think the jury's still out on it. I
Yeah.
think it's still out. They haven't done enough research, but it looks promising, but I wouldn't touch it until
Yeah.
we know a little bit more.
Yeah, cool.
But that takes us out, mate. Next week we're going to look at fatherhood.
That's lucky episode 13.
That's lucky episode 13. If you're Chinese, it's lucky. Everybody else, this is not so much. But anyway,
So this is showing up for your kids,
showing up.
even when you're falling apart, right?
Yeah, that's right. Being a dad.
This will be a really important episode that
Yeah.
we've touched on, but probably haven't gone into ideas, things you can do.
Yep.
And why it's so important.
Yeah. And I think for us, it's really about, this episode is trying to demonstrate to our listeners that being a good dad doesn't mean being a perfect dad. It means showing up for your kids and showing up in the right way for your kids and focusing on the stuff that they're really going to remember.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. It's not about the money. It's about the kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Show up even though you're running on fumes.
Even though you're running on fumes, which is hard to do sometimes, but that's
good, mate. That's a good wrap. I'm looking for the next week.
Right.
You have a good week.
I will. I'll put this on the cutting room floor again, because there's going to be some editing of me crying in a couple of segments of laughter.
Maybe you could cut out that he swallowed a sheep. Can you do that?
Do you want me to cut that out?
No.
I'm not cutting it out. I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it in. I'll put it as a viral clip, maybe. Who knows? We'll see. This episode is general information only. Full disclaimers in the notes.